I always start with this smile on my face because I feel it is such an incredible privilege just to be here, to talk, to share, to yeah, to help. Um, I having pastored so many years, it almost feels like you're my congregation, and I'm here to care for you, and I walk with you through ups and downs. Some of you, I've been your counselor as well, but I certainly am one who's privileged to give input into your life regularly, and so I am honored to be here and happy to be here, and so yeah, from time to time, we have interesting developments within Regroup. I'm sure it's the true with the partners groups and Flair, the women's group. But sometimes people come for a while and then they fade out and they crash and burn and we never hear from them again. And we even reach out. I know a gentleman in our group, we reached out many times until finally he basically said, back off, I don't want to come anymore. And he, you know, okay. But categorically, he's you know, we know he's not doing very good. And and you know, when people get involved in regroup to try to get help and they realize, gee, this isn't easy. To come every week is hard, and then the expectations of opening up and sharing and talking about your struggles and working on some material and doing the 12-step program. I mean, like really, this is hard stuff. And but but I want to talk about when it's your time to leave and how to leave well. When you're done with regroup, what does a wise exit strategy look like to determine your readiness to stop attending regroup? And I would argue that if you stop attending regroup before this particular talk is in place in your life, you're making a grave mistake. I remember one young man, you know, came to me for counseling, and I said, "Do me a favor, give me a year of your life to put this addiction behind you forever. Just give me a year of your life. Like with your wife and family, they're worth it. Give me a year of your life to really work on this and everything." And he's been around more than a year, and he's still got some things to do on this list. And yet I just there's this beautiful awareness that if I'm going to finish and mature through this process, that there will be certain things that will be true of my life before I leave. So this is a wise exit strategy so that you know that you're moving ahead with wisdom and certainly my blessing. So see, you're attending this group for the purpose of establishing freedom from sexual or pornographic addiction. Um, now, this process is going to take, you know, we say a minimum of a year. There are guys that come in and out in a year and finish a 12 step and do everything that we've suggested they need to do, and they finish up in a year. But that is rare. Usually, recovery is bumpy. Usually, it's fraught with occasional setbacks. It's fraught with, um, uh, gee, this is hard work. It's fraught with, you know, gee, the 12 step has sat for 4 months. I haven't done a thing, and I better get back at it again. I better get back at it again. And we do what we can to support you to work through the 12-step program. Robbie has taught some incredible teaching online under the recovery, you know, the 12-step program videos, teaching you about every one of those steps. But you see, this freedom from the addiction is going to be anywhere from well, 18 months to 3 years is what I often say. And to really have it behind you. Um, so it's important for you to understand the frame of reference that we have about your attendance and your involvement in one of the recovery groups at DFR. In pursuit of freedom, DFR is designed, these regroups and Flair and the partners groups are designed with the following expectations: consistent attendance for a minimum of a year. Now that's a minimum. That's just to get your head in thing. I'm not just coming for, yeah, I'm going to attend that thing for about 6, 8 weeks and I'll get it going. No, no, don't fool yourself. You've lied to yourself long enough. Okay, so but it's a minimum of a year. Now you still have other things you'll hear that need to get done. If you can get them done in a year, technically you'd be free to go with a minimum of a year. But as you join Regroup and as you look at your journey, keep in mind that we're talking about consistent attendance, not, oh yeah, well, I didn't make it the last 3 weeks, but I'm here now, and it's kind of flaky attendance. We're not accepting that. Number two, regular and intentional interaction and sharing within your breakout group. Um, it's interesting and sad actually when things blow up at home and the wife tells the counselor, some cases me, that he's been this, he's been that, he's been this, and none of that came to the small group. He gave the impression to the small group that, yeah, it's going good. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And now he might be doing these three good things, but if he's doing these three things that are negative, then it's not working. But you see, there has to be authenticity. There has to be willingness to share your journey. There has to be willingness to interact and open up. That these people really become your wingmen, that you become known by them and they become known by you, and that there's this partnership going on in the breakout groups. And so yeah, there I'm going into the group and I'm sharing myself and I'm also supporting the other guys, because remember, the opposite of addiction is connection. You becoming connected. The addiction thrives on isolation. Addiction thrives on isolation. I did it my way. You don't do it your way. You don't. So thirdly, completion of the 12-step program, as found in the Steps to Freedom book. Now we say go through it twice. Now the second time it's more cursory because you're working it through maybe to add a few things, but the first time you've done a really thorough job. You've written all over your manual, and the second time through you're just reinforcing and making sure that you have done a thorough job and also revisiting it for the purpose of going deeper. So we want you to go through it twice, once completely, fully, deeply, and second, a cursory time to just make sure that you have been thorough. As part of the 12-step program, there's 2 other books that we recommend that you work through. And they all go with the series, The Final Freedom, that we're using, that was put out together with Dr. Doug Weiss. But the book's called The Final Freedom. It's like about 12, 13 chapters on how to recover. So that's a good book to have read. And then as part of the 12 Steps to Freedom in the Final Freedom book, there is an exercise book called The Final Freedom 101 Exercises. And often those exercises are referred to in the 12-step program. You should do this now. You should do this now. And so that's a companion manual that you need to work through and do 101 exercises as part of the 12 steps. Because though this particular 12-step is matching and follows the overall template of the general 12-step program, obviously this one is clearly biblically based, but it is focused on the challenges of addiction and the things that you need to work through. So the Steps to Freedom book, read The Final Freedom, and do the 101 exercises. It's really important that you fully understand addiction, your triggers, and have a comprehensive recovery strategy figured out. Matter of fact, as guys come to me and say, hey, look, I'm close to checking off all these things here to finish up, I say, okay, I want to know what's your strategy when you're done regroup. How are you going to keep going? What's your game plan moving forward to sustain this victory? So you not only have, I understand my addiction, I understand my triggers, what are my tempting points, I got a comprehensive recovery strategy in writing, and even a recovery plan after I'm done regroup. You will have had to have some kind of personal counseling to work through the issues behind or because of your addiction. What's behind your addiction that caused you to go there? What's some of the soul pain? And then also not just what's behind the addiction, but what has happened because of your addiction. And sometimes it's recovering with your spouse or family that you need to do. So some personal counseling to be putting behind you, some of these things about the roots of your addiction and the effects of your addiction. Next, you need to be committed in this one that you need to be 1 year completely free of acting out, all clear, according to the all clear document, which is not fuzzy or unclear. But we're saying that you've done all these other things, but evidenced by I'm 1 year all clear. And I mean, if you're having a setback every 3 to 4 months, you've got to work till you get to a whole year clear, because that's really telling us, for the most part, it doesn't mean you'll never be tempted again. It just means that you're on a really good trajectory. And so completely free of acting out for 1 year. That you need to restore your marital relationship in a God-honoring way as much as possible. Now, some of you have lost your marriages, so you can't restore that. So you're going to have as amicable as a relationship as you can with your ex. And you're going to try to rebuild relationship with your kids if you have any kids. But the idea is that part of that year, you'll be working on rebuilding trust with those that are closest to you. And that is critical, that you regain the respect, that you rebuild trust with your significant players in your life, spouse and family. And finally, that you walk deeply and consistently with the Lord in community and in private devotion, that you've established an accountability relationship. I have an accountability relationship, not because of Regroup. I have been with Larry for 32 years. And before that, I was with Wes and Stephen. And then for a time, I was with Ray. But there's never been a time in my life that I shouldn't say that. The first few years of my marriage, I didn't live accountable. And it was something new to me. But I've been accountable over 40 years now, weekly to another person. And I would say that you need to be consistently walking with the Lord in community with an accountability partner, and that you're walking in your own growth as a man in your devotional life, that you're in the Word reading, and you're growing in prayer, and that by the time you get to the point of leaving Regroup, a regular devotional pattern should be happening in your life. Well, see, that's not just a little, I got this, I'll be in and out of Regroup in 3 months. No, we're actually saying you got to come for a whole year, regular attendance, and then these other factors have to come into play. See, we want you free. We want to walk with you to get to this place that you can breathe freer without being pounded by temptations. You figured out where they come from, why they get attractive to me, and my strategies of dealing with them, that I'm walking with integrity, and my spouse and family are feeling so good about the direction of my life. And frankly, I feel good about the direction of my life. And that's what we want for you. So there's some questions that we would want to ask you. And so as you're getting to the point that you're saying, you know what, I think I'm getting close to meeting this criterion for exit. These are the questions that we want to ask you, and you ask yourself before ending your involvement or attendance with one of the recovery groups. These questions are designed to help you discern whether or not you are stable and ready to function without the regular input of the group. And remember, there's a lot of people that go through this and then they stay on to be a leader and help. They stay on to mentor others. And some guys stay on because this is a place where they get encouragement. This is a place where they belong. This is, the church has been really good, but they were never in a small group in the church. And this is good reinforcement. This is good stay on track stuff. So some guys aren't going to leave, and that's fine, because they found here something that was missing in their life. They didn't have a group. They didn't have accountability. They didn't have ongoing weekly shot in the arm from somebody who's calling them to greatness in the Lord. And so just because you meet the criterion doesn't mean you have to leave the group. But here's the questions that we would like you to ask yourself to discern whether or not you feel you're ready. Number one, have you met the above criterion? The exit strategy? Have you completed the program as we've outlined it? Number two, do you have regular weekly accountability in place moving forward to keep growing? So if you're not in regroup, who is your wingman? Who were you meeting regularly with? Okay, like that has to be lined up, because you're going to step away from your group and you won't have your breakout group for a half an hour to talk through things and even to chat outside the group. You need to find that weekly accountability person. Three, you've identified your triggers, where you get tempted, where it's stupid for you. You've identified what those are, and you've set up wise boundaries for each of those moving forward. And those boundaries, it's wise for you to keep those in place. It's wise. Don't say, I don't need to worry about that. I can now have blah, 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 whatever was your boundaries before. So you know what your triggers are, and you've got wise boundaries related to each of those triggers. You've got a complete recovery plan for your stability beyond being in recovery group. So here's my plan for moving forward. I'm going to be in the Bible every day as best I can. I'm going to meet weekly with Bill, my accountability partner. I'm going to continue to attend church. My wife and I are going to get into a small group. I'm going to once every 6 months sit down with my counselor just to talk through how am I doing. I'm going to just weekly keep up to date with my wife on what's going on in my life. And so you've got a game plan. You've got a comprehensive ongoing recovery strategy that's in place to keep your stability. Another question you need to ask yourself, has your relationship with God grown strong enough? And is he a daily anchor in your life? Or is he just still a distant idea versus he strengthens me every day? I've grown closer to the Lord. Another question to ask yourself, is your marriage in a good place? Is your marriage healthy or stable? And if you have lost your marriage because of your addiction, are you in as amicable relationship with your ex as possible? What do you need to do to even make amends, even though you may be divorced? But the point is, yeah. And then seventhly, have the support of your wife, your spouse, to leave regroup. Your counselor, yep, he knows, and he's good that I'm leaving regroup. Your accountability partner knows that you're finishing with your regroup, and he's going to step up to be involved with you weekly. And where possible, your pastor knows that you've been 18 months in a program that helped you overcome your sexual addiction. And I want you to know that I'm finishing up with that group, pastor, and I want you to feel free to ask me how I'm doing. So if your counselor, your wife, your accountability partner, and your pastor has all agreed it's good to go because you've met these criterion, then you're okay to finish. And of course, the obvious question, has you actually been clean for a full year? Remember, along with sexual or porn addiction, many men are addicted to lying. So when we ask the question, have you been clean for a year? Don't BS anybody. Be honest. And if you're only 8 months clear, then stay in for another 4 months to walk with integrity and finish strong. And make sure these things are in place. See, we don't want to create a dependency on regroup. We want to launch you to freedom that you can actually soar and fly with just ongoing plans that will allow you to maintain the freedom that you have arrived at. And there's one more thing I like to do. When a person goes through this list and is going to step out of regroup in a wise way, some of you've been around and men have done their kind of farewell talk. They're going to talk about how they got here, and they've checked all these things off. And so I like them to do a closing talk, and kind of like their last day, so that others can learn from what they've learned and what helped them and how they got here. And so, not on the sheet that I gave you, but I have just in the last year or so started asking guys when they do this whole wise exit strategy well, that they actually do a closing talk and share their story and how they got here and all that. So, and you notice when I created this, there's a place to sign at the bottom, that you would sign it, and that someone would sign that you're going to commit to do this, and at the end that you have completed all this, and you put your name and sign it, and you put the completion date, and somebody witnesses that it's a bit of a contractual thing, that you shouldn't fool yourself to think that I got this, I'm doing good. And you know what, when you've been relapsing every couple of weeks, when you're hitting 3 months, it feels like you got this figured out. But please don't live in the misperception that 3 months clean means you've got this. Please don't. You see this particular wise exit strategy sheet, and the things that we asked you to do, it is work. There's no way around. This is a lot of commitment, a lot of time, a lot of effort. But the whole purpose is not like, oh, we're some kind of controlling group that's trying to make you do these things. No, my friends, this is what works. This is what works. This is, first of all, when I counsel people, I tell people, I have no power in your life. I have no power in your life. You don't need to do anything I say. You can crush this up and throw it away. But if you want to establish freedom and maintain freedom for the rest of your life, this is a foundational document that you need to aim at as your target. And then you don't have to leave the group. You can stay on and help other men and give back. You can also enjoy the camaraderie of being in the group and being supported, and also being a great support to other men, and maybe step up and lead a group for a while. But the point is, we would love you to be able to use this to determine your readiness of when it's time to leave recovery group. Let's talk about that now.